we're going to go on now to Doug Paulley, who has more of a personal battle that he fought, but which has had implications for many of us. And he's going to tell us about how he came to get involved in those. So over to you, Doug, in North Yorkshire, I think. Yes?
That's right, yes. Thank you very much. Yes, I live in a care home in North Yorkshire. Some people have branded me the care home campaigner. I don't know why I campaign. One of the questions that I've been asked is why I do. And I think partly it's kind of family, but also it's just a sheer injustice, isn't it? The social model basically says that we are all being stuffed by society's failure to properly put in measures to ensure that we can have the same access that everybody else takes for granted. And it's such a reasonable thing to ask for, that every time I see a procedure not being followed that excludes me or other disabled people or something like that, it grates. I have to try and rein myself in a bit, to be honest, and pick the battles. So as others have pointed out, we are, I'm incredibly grateful. We are incredibly lucky to have had the work done by previous activists. I mean, in the 1990s, I was in school and college, but people were chaining themselves to buses for the rights of disabled people in the future and at the time to be able to travel. And as a result of their hard work, the Disability Discrimination Act came about. And as others have also said, it wasn't the piece of civil rights legislation that's being campaigned for. However, it's also pretty much the only thing that we've got. And it can be sometimes with great difficulty and poor access in the courts and all sorts of other barriers and cost risk, it can be a tool that can make organizations sit up and make change or prompt some rethinking within society. Sometimes it's not without its significant difficulties and risks. So it's a tool. So back in, I don't know, about 2002, I entered a marathon and I told them that I was a wheelchair user, but they didn't listen. And then I turned up on the day and they said, oh, you can't do it for health and safety reasons. And this really got to me. I complained and they didn't really interact. So I got the Disability Rights Commission, which was like the Equality and Human Rights Commission, but actually did some work. And I got them involved and they did legal advice and advocacy, and they had a leaflet, pamphlet about how to sue an organization. The EHRC, the Disability Rights Commission themselves decided not to take it on, but they gave me this leaflet, and so I had a go. I lost that case, and I think I deserved to lose because of complicating factors. You know, the case, I agreed with the judge's judgment. But it showed me that, you know, you can attempt to do such things. So about 8 years ago, a campaigning solicitor was looking for a case to work with me and had heard of some of these cases that I'd been bringing as what they call a litigant in person, a non-represented person. So when one day I was trying to catch the bus to go and see my family, the bus to catch a train, and the bus, I couldn't get on. But by the time I arrived at the stop, it already had somebody on, even though it was a terminus. There weren't very many people on, there was 2 or 3 people, but there was one person who'd got their pushchair in the wheelchair space. And when the driver asked her to move, she refused. And I was unable to catch that bus. And, you know, knock-on effects, it had effects on my confidence. I missed the train. Everything went spectacularly wrong. And I thought this might be an interesting case to take. Little did I know that it would end up being the first goods and services disability discrimination case to reach the Supreme Court in the UK. And that happened through an amazing amount of support from a very lot of people. I mean, it's enriched my life massively, meeting so many amazing disabled campaigners, a great community, and also allies. It's been a real experience. And I think that's one of the main things that I've learned from it. Although I had experience of working with disabled people before, other disabled people, it's amazing how the camaraderie and working together with a common goal and but with a light touch and entertainment can really make a difference.
You've got 1 minute, Doug.
Say again?
1 minute.
Yeah. All we've been wanting to do, as the dam protesters said all those years ago, is to boldly go where all others have gone before. And as Tanny Gray Thompson says now, to have the same access to the same terrible commuting service as everybody else. And I think the only way that we can achieve that is through changing the legal system to make it easier to enforce and ultimately to change the law. The law requires disabled people themselves to take individual legal action against lots of others, you know, huge organizations with huge resources, for it to be enforced, which was always designed to fail. And there's no point in rights unless they're enforced. So, you know, it's been a great pleasure working with so many disabled people. I feel incredibly humbled, and there's more fights now than ever. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Doug. And all of us who find it easier, those of us who are wheelchair users, to get on the bus and not have to fight the pram brigade, owe a debt to you for taking that on. So thank you very much.